A very good morning, Zimbabwe. Mamuka say, Anna, via Zimbabwe. Today we are looking on this issue. President Emerson Mnangagwa is celebrating 80 years now. Other people are saying it's actually 84, but officially it's 80 years being celebrated today, the 15th of September 2022. So from 1942, if you count, if you do the math, you can actually reach on to that figure, 80 years. But let us take a look on this very important issue or a very important aspect. He has been in government for the past 42 years. Since 1980, he has been in government and has been holding very influential positions as the Minister of State Security. And from then, he held very key positions, including the Ministry of Defense, including the Ministry of Finance portfolios, the Ministry of Justice portfolios. These are key offices he held for the past 42 years. If you look right now, he is now the Chief Executive Officer of the Republic of Zimbabwe. He's the head of state. He is the President of the Republic. And if we are to look onto his legacy, I have seen celebrations here. As you can see right here, the Chronicle had to celebrate his life. And they are saying that a leader who walk the talk. And the question is, what talk is he walking? That is what is very important for us to look at this moment in time, because we need proof that indeed he is walking the talk. What kind of talk is he walking? Is it the corrupt talk, or is it the development talk? Because he has been there for the past 42 years. So for the failures of Zimbabwe, we cannot exonerate him. If you look at the judiciary of Zimbabwe, he took part in terms of destroying the judiciary itself, because he was the Minister of Justice for a very long time, for quite some time. And he presided over some legal changes within Zimbabwe. He was Minister of Finance in the 90s, and he took part in destroying the currency of Zimbabwe. At a certain point in time, he made some acknowledgements about corruption, but never did anything meaningful. He was Minister of State Security, and he presided over what happened in Matabeleland. And since then, we have not seen him apologizing for what happened in Matabeleland. Whether involved or not, we have not seen the president apologizing for what happened in Matabeleland. If we are to look at President Mnangagwa as the Minister of Defense, he presided over the 2008 massive violence against the opposition. He's the architect of dissemination the opposition in 2008, where he acknowledged that indeed he called the President Mugabe and said, Baba, gadzirai cabinet. Isusu kunoku, we are going to deal with the situation, we are going to save everything and make sure that indeed ZANU-PF remains in power. Is the reason why Mugabe remained in power in 2008. Mugabe yega anga surrender, but because of his political ambitions, the presidential ambitions, he presided over what happened in 2018. And I give him that responsibility kuti anofanira kutakura mutoro wake about whatever happened to the opposition people, vakaitwa mashort head, short sleeve, nema long sleeve. And other people in other cycles says that is a true reflection of what happened in Matabeleland. But at this time, in a point in time, it was being done across Zimbabwe to every voice which went against him as a president. So myself, this is the legacy I remember him for. If we are to look from 2018 up to this date, when he got into power, he made it mandatory for everybody to declare his assets and to declare the sources of wealth, but nothing, no action was taken, because those declarations which were made were supposed to be investigated to see, are they true? Are these people, the sources of income or the sources of their wealth, authentic? That never happened. Up to this day, those are wasted resources actually doing that exercise. So if we are to look at the issue of corruption, we have seen him acknowledging that indeed corruption has been killing Zimbabwe, and we have seen him acknowledging that we cannot continue to speak about sanctions. It was time for us to deal with corruption, to deal with what is happening at home. But if you are to investigate further, you'll see that he has done nothing in terms of ending corruption. We've seen Rushwaya, we've seen Mufumira, we've seen a lot of ZANU-PF, Anaundenge, we've seen them going scot-free, despite them being corrupt and despite them being connected to corrupt activities in this nation of Zimbabwe. We've not seen a serious conviction in terms of corruption. And the question is, are you not powerful, Mr. President Mnangagwa? When you are celebrating your birthday today, and I know you're in good mood, can you at least look at the issues which are affecting Zimbabwe? Go to Parenyatwa and look at what is happening there. People are dying of cancer. That is your legacy. People are dying of various diseases because there is no medication, there is no equipment. That is your legacy. What kind of legacy are you going to leave for the people of Zimbabwe? Job Sikhala is in prison. You are celebrating your birthday. Can you look into those key issues and make sure that you deal with such issues? Because that will be your legacy. Pamchaba, those things will continue to actually follow you and pursue you. So this is it in Zimbabwe. As the president celebrates his 80th birthday, we need to be serious about governance, because we expect to see elders actually putting wisdom in whatever they do. We need to see elders applying much wisdom. But we are not seeing that case happening in the nation of Zimbabwe. And we expect to see the leader not celebrating kufamba kwavanenge vachiita, not celebrating kuvaka kuextenda kana kuexpanda Harare International Airport, not celebrating kuvaka a parliament building. We want to see the president of Zimbabwe celebrating empowerment of the people of Zimbabwe. We want to see the president celebrating empowerment of young people, celebrating empowerment of black people in terms of owning mines. We need to see the government of Zimbabwe owning mines on behalf of the people of Zimbabwe so that everybody begins to benefit. Because at this point in time, they're actually saying we don't own these mines, they are owned by conglomerates, and these conglomerates, they are surrendering this percentage in terms of my royalties and my taxes. So you can actually see that the huge chunk of my profits is going this way. But the question is, what is stopping the government of Zimbabwe to actually own my mine? Why are you selling my government-owned mines in the nation? Those are the issues which we need clarity. So you can actually see that his legacy is going to be a different legacy, a legacy full of blasphemy, full of incompetency, without anything meaningful for the empowerment of the black people. Because we expected to see somebody who fought in the liberation struggle coming up with policies which are pro-people. Why was the war fought? It was about land. Why land? Because land, number one, it is the number one resource in terms of farming, in terms of mining, in terms of tourism. So whenever you see land, you see farming. Whenever you see land, you see mining. Whenever you see land, you see tourism. These are three key things which brings revenue into an economy. But tourism is the only better functional anchor or ministry right now. If you go to mines, nothing is functional. If you go to agriculture, nothing is functional. No revenue, meaningful revenue is being realized in all those areas. And the question to Mr. President is, for the past 42 years, Mr. President, what is your legacy? What are you going to be remembered for as a president? Kuti chamakaita. What were the principles dzamakaendera kuhondo? I understand maiva mukwasha waGeneral Tongogara, a man, a visionary, a man with a vision about an equal Zimbabwe. And what did you learn pamakanga muchigara naGeneral Tongo semukwasha wavo? Ndezvipi zvamakanga muchitaura? Because I know kuti mukwasha naTezvara maimbowana time dzekugara pasi muchimbotaura about that vision yenyika yataida kuti tinge tichiona. President, this is your happy day. You are happy today. Can you please respond and tell the people of Zimbabwe what is your legacy at this moment in time? If we go to the universities, you have privatized education. Why do I say so? It's because the state universities are now charging exorbitant fees as if they are private universities. So if you go to the health sector, you have privatized the health sector. Why? ukaenda uchida kuchipatara, madrugs unomaona kuprivate sector, mascans unomaona kuprivate sector, everything, a meaningful consultation unoiwana kuprivate sector. It means everything is being privatized. Everything in Zimbabwe has been privatized. If you go to football, there is no football to talk about in the nation of Zimbabwe. And this is your legacy, Mr. President, because right now, Zimbabwe is banned Kukosafa, is banned NETAF, is banned FIFA, is banned AFCON. Everywhere, Zimbabwe is banned. Internationally, Zimbabwe cannot play. And that is affecting our young talents here in Zimbabwe because they cannot showcase their talents. They cannot compete in the world. They cannot do anything. It's because that is your legacy. That is the legacy you have chosen as the head of state at this moment in time. And I know you are 8 years and you are going close to your retirement and both physically and spiritually, and you need to leave a legacy. The question is, what is your legacy? What are the people of Zimbabwe going to remember you for? These are the questions we have today as young people on this 80th birthday. Kuti imimi baba makarwa hondo you young, what are your ambitions? Maimbonyatsorwirei hondo, makarwa hondo ere kuti vana venyu vagute vega? Because we've seen nonsense coming around iri kutaura iyo kuti vanhu nemunhu anofana kuzvionera. We see some of your supporters are coming here to tell us that you're a communist party, you support communism. But communism is about resources owned by the community. That is about communism. Communism talks about minds being owned by us as the people. That is communism. Isisu mucommunity medu kuvillage kana kuti muconstituency tingadai constituency yega yega ichinzi ine mine yayo, ine chakati chayo, owning the resources. That is about communism. But here in Zimbabwe we see capitalism, but you pretend to be communists. That is wrong, Mr. President. Say you have to reflect and know the reasons why you went to war. Vashoko, and why is most of the nations, the presidents are the old people only? To me, is how they are failing because they're old, their minds are tired. Yes, I agree with you. These men were in the liberation struggle. And when they were in the liberation struggle, they got tired. Already, Pavakapindam government, they were tired because of the work they were doing during the liberation struggle. So when they came to lead the nation, they have overstayed the 42 years. Uchingori Pamberi is not a joke. This is not only 42 years. Let us go back to the liberation struggle. He spent 10 years in jail. If you add to 42 years, that is 52 years. If you add some years, before he was arrested, you will see very well that he has overstayed. He is actually around 60 years, more than 60 years, because when he was tried, he was around 21 years by then. He was under 21 years by then. And you probably see, Kuti, these are people who have been in the service for 60 years. So it's like a vehicle. If you use a vehicle for too long, guys, lifespan, these are people who are supposed to be retired by now. Vachipama advice, vachienda kunobvunzwa, occupying advisory roles, not being on the forefront. And the question is, don't you have people in the ZANU-PF who are capable enough? What were you doing not grooming people, young people within ZANU-PF to actually come and occupying these key positions and these key institutions? That is the question we ask here as young people at this moment in time. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for the support you've been offering us. Okay, Anzi Chichaona Ngirazi, walk the talk munyika musina democracy, and that is the question we are asking. What is the talk, the talk about? Because you are walking what exactly? Because if we are to begin about the talking part, you have to talk about the ethos and the values and the principles of the liberation struggle as enshrined in the Constitution, in the preamble of the Constitution of the Republic of Zimbabwe. It is clear. And you are working against the preamble of the Constitution of Zimbabwe because it says we must uphold the values, the principles of the liberation struggles. And what are those values? What are those principles? That is what is very important. And we need to see that whatever which is being done right now by ZANU-PF, they are working against the liberation struggle values, ethos, and principles. So there is no walking the talk here, because everybody is crying, everybody is struggling, except for a few individuals vanenge vachingogara the northeastern side of Harare, ndo vanhu vari kudya vachiguta. The rest on the other sides vane nhamo, vane nzara, and if you get sick, you're in trouble, my friend. So this is it, Team Zimbabwe. I don't want to take much of your time. I have taken your time already. And we have been looking at the 42 years of President Emmerson Mnangagwa at his 80th year birthday. Kuti 42 years dzavakanga vari mugovernment yeZimbabwe yasununguka vakaitei, and there is nothing to show. He held several ministries and is now in the executive, but nothing to show for it, which is positive. We agree that negative things are there, because the situation we have right now, he contributed to it. Negative things are there, but positive things, I don't see any. So this is my opinion, Team Zimbabwe. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for the support. As they are celebrating the 80th year of President Emmerson Mnangagwa, the question as young people is, why are you killing everybody and everything in the nation of Zimbabwe? Why are you destroying the institutions? Why are you destroying anything you touch in the nation of Zimbabwe? That is the question we leave for President Emmerson Mnangagwa. And this is it, Team Zimbabwe. Thank you very much for coming. Let us register to and make sure that in 2023 we deliver that much needed change. My name is Ronald Wekwamakusha, signing out.